Hey, Street Fighters, what the fuck is up? Wednesday night, time for a street fight. You know what it is, the basement show, the original shit. Brian and I set out about 8 years ago to create some disruption and dissent in this world. Tell people to not stop following Republicans and Democrats and working together to create something better. So we're here so that we can have a horizontally organized party of folks across the entire flat earth to get together and create something better than what we got going right now. It simply starts with a radio show out of the heart of it all, Columbus, Ohio, 614 area code. I'm Brett Payne. He's Brian Quinby. We are the #1 anarcho-comedy radio show on any station across the nation. I have been enjoying the Three Frogs IPA from Elevator. We just recorded a bonus show where we watched What Would You Do on Patreon. So I'm ready to go. I'm feeling it. I'm excited about wrapping things up when it comes to our tour. We're going to be in Texas in October. You can see us in Austin, Texas on Monday, October 14th. You can see us in Oklahoma City on Wednesday, October 16th. Dallas, Texas at Sons of Herman Hall. Dream venue. My goodness, it's just like out of history. I love it. One of my favorite places to see things. That's going to happen on Thursday, October 17th. And then in Houston, Texas. And I'm telling you what, you go see these other shows in Austin and Dallas and Oklahoma. If you live in maybe New Orleans or Shreveport, Houston, Texas, we're doing a combo street fight and party world wrestling. It's happening at Houston Underground on Friday, October 18th. Maybe try to figure out a place if you can sleep in someone's house or something. But we want to pack that motherfucker out. We can get like 500 people in the joint. It's going to be a huge party. Street Fight Radio is happening early. We're going to do our show from like 7:30 to 9. And then Party World Wrestling is doing their thing from 9:30 to 11. And you better believe we're going to get in there and get down and dirty. I cannot wait. I've been texting back and forth with the party lord himself, and tickets just went on sale for all those shows. If you go to store.streetfightradio.com, you can get your tickets now. Get on the list. We do not sell actual tickets. I do feel like as a collectible type person, it would be neat to have some sort of thing that, you know, people could save and all of that. But then I also do not want to create any more waste. I do like computers so that we don't have to print something out and then have it mailed across the fucking country and sent to you. So we just do a guest list. You show up, you give them your name. We will check you in. If you can't do that, we always have some tickets available at the door. If you want to show up, you'll be able to pay with cash. I know a lot of you are trying to avoid banking transactions, so we do take care of that. And if you need financial assistance at all with any of these tickets, we're not trying to leave you out at all. It's just a matter of making sure that everybody can get there and be well rested, and we have comfortable, reliable transportation and food and all of those things. And really, what's the most exciting about this is that we're going to Texas and we're bringing Kath Barbadoro with us. One of my favorite podcasters, What a Time to Be Alive, ranks as the #1 for me, that I listen to every single week and get excited about. She's such a brilliant comedian. I can't wait to see her stuff. Apparently, she's getting it all together because she's going to open for Patton Oswalt soon, and I couldn't be more excited about it. This Texas tour is just incredible. Like, things just keep getting better. It's unreal.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I get to be in a wrestling show. I mean, I get to do my shows too for wonderful Texas people. So
I'm like, I have gaudy glasses. I have a gold chain. I'm trying to figure out how I get a fucking like satin robe in time. Like, do I just rent one? Do I just go to the thrift store? Do I eBay? We're going to be performing in a wrestling ring, hopefully. Like, I want to run the ropes. I want to get some bruises.
yeah, I mean, I'm willing to get beat up. If they want to beat me up, they can beat me up.
And I tell you what, PWR made a huge mistake because as a fan, I'm an asshole. I am yelling, screaming, trying to get involved with every single match. You put me behind the scenes, I'm going to get passionate. I don't stand for any fucking cheating, any of that lying, any of that bullshit that, you know, people just wink at. You know, they let these people take advantage of the ref and all that shit. I like to see a good, clean wrestling match.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind if people cheat. One of the things that got me into wrestling originally was the fact that guys cheated. And I was like, yeah, real sports guys would cheat too. They just don't show it. You know what I mean? Like, it was just kind of, that was one of the things that originally got me in. So I'm a cheaty guy. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
Once again, store.streetfightradio.com is where you can go to see those shows.
Yes. Go to the store. Buy some shit. Make us some money.
Yeah, we do have Guys, Gals, and Non-Binary Pals and the very cool Hellfire Congregation Tour shirt available. It's in a very safe gray color, has very tough graphics with hard steel and flames and the flat earth. It was done by one of our favorite artists, Dave Davenport. You can find him on Instagram. He's at Dogspunk or Dogspunk.
Yeah, whichever way you decide to pronounce
He's
that
punk.
is fine.
He grew up in a biker house. It was funny, actually, when I asked him to do the graphic, he said, I know. I said a rocker patch, and I didn't know if he was going to, how much he knew. And he was like, I grew up in a biker house. I know exactly what you mean. I was like, this is great. Perfect. This
No,
is
I don't know what a rocker patch is.
synchronicity. This is like this all works out.
Yeah. Oh, crumbs. We got a couple things this week, I think, that'll tide us over for a little bit. But let's start with some interesting news that was sent to me. Oh, motherfucker.
That's me. I'm a motherfucker.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, obviously, everybody that fucks a mother is a motherfucker. This is from The Guardian.
It's a new Disney tune.
Yeah. This is a new Guardian. This is a Guardian article that was sent to me in my DMs. And I want to read this. The anonymous members of Il Padrone de Merda, Crappy Boss, staged protests outside employers in the Italian city who are accused of exploiting their workers.
Tight.
On a warm summer afternoon in the Italian city of Bologna, I'm trying not to say Bologna, basically.
Yeah.
a group
Bologna.
of around 15 young people marched through the crowded street center at a high-end pastry shop in Strada Maggiore. Once there, they don white plastic masks, and a few start plastering the full-length windows and doors with stickers that say "Questo posto ha un padrone de merda." First of all, I'm Spanish.
Yeah,
I did
you're
Spanish
rusty.
courses, and this is Italian, so I don't know how to say it.
Okay.
This place has a crappy boss, is what it means.
Okay.
While an activist with a megaphone reads testimony from an employee who says he hasn't been paid for months.
Nice.
As curious passersby stop and watch, the owner confronts the protesters, trying to grab the megaphone and dislodge the masks of some of the protesters. When he calls the police, the group quickly disperses. I guess I want to clear. I want to make sure that people are following what this is in Italy. There is a group of people who put on white masks and they point out crappy bosses and they march around.
Yeah, it's stickers that said this place has a crappy boss, like a notification sticker.
Right. And which that is like a good sticker to make. That actually is a sticker that you could get, if we just had piles of those stickers for people to get if they have a crappy boss to put on the outside of buildings. Because I mean, the first thing I thought about this was man, every restaurant and every small business is gonna have one of these signs.
Well, I mean, yeah, it doesn't make sense, and I mean, it should be more common. And I would say the fact, I mean, I don't know what it is like. I don't know what the culture is like over there, but I do feel like this should be happening more often. It's not. If your employees get to the point where they're doing that, you earned it. Right? I mean, you brought this upon yourself. You were the boss. You could have treated these people in a way to the point where they wouldn't plaster the front of your fucking business and throw a fit like this.
Right. People are generally pretty easygoing.
People put up with a lot of fucking bullshit. We
the
talk about it on this show every week.
Yeah, people will put up with a lot of shit, and if people are showing up outside of your business and they're telling people how bad you are, the problem is with the small business tyrant, a type of person that I'm 100% an expert in, they would never take this as advice. They would just hire they would rather just hire all new people than change the way that they do things. But the fact is, if more people knew that the people that own businesses were bad, then they would not go to those businesses. If that makes sense. Like it's kind of there is solidarity out there. I think that people do feel solidarity with people who are in bad situations. We just kind of don't have a way to tell each other who is bad. Like people who don't make a ton of money, or maybe even like low wage workers or restaurant workers or people that work in retail, they don't really have they don't have a place to talk about these kind of things. They don't have a place to form a general consensus of what a good place is and what a bad place is.
Yeah.
Because I don't think people are that unreasonable with what they want from a boss.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of the horribly confusing stand-up routines I tried to do like forever ago when we were doing that revolved around the idea of setting up a fund so that people could get a job like meter monitor and do it terribly, and we would give them money when they got fired until they found a new job. We would just make sure that they go there and salt or whatever. I feel like with the amount of fundraising that goes online right now, we should be like the way the Trillbillies did with that strike. They were able to raise a considerable amount of money for the people that were on strike for that coal. And if folks were to make a big, bold stand all together, I believe that it's very obvious that there is money available for that. I mean, we would obviously support something like that,
Yeah. I think the thing about this that I really like, and let's go ahead.
Sorry, but do you see Chris Caesar?
I didn't actually.
He came out with it. He was trying not to be an asshole, but he worked for the Boston Smoke Shop, which is probably we frequent smoke shops all the time, right? Like all around town.
Yeah.
But the guy that ran it was like a fucking sex trafficker and stopped paying people and shit. And he just aired all this dirty fucking laundry about him all over.
Wow.
And tagged all these people and is just spreading the word. And it's at this point, it's what else are you going to do? We have lost so much ground when it comes to employment that this is a way to put them in front of the customer.
Right. I want it to be look, street fight is a way that people can talk about this kind of thing, but it's not a really good kind of underground type of communication. And it would be really great if we could figure out a way that people can trade information, because there's just no information on a lot of jobs. If I was able to go and tell people what happened when I worked at Lexi's, the diner that I worked at, then maybe some people wouldn't have gone there, and that high turnover, he wouldn't be able to just do he wouldn't be able to do that. It's very hard, I think, for people. It's hard to organize anyway, but it's also very hard to even find out what the bad jobs are. There's not a big board somewhere that we can go to. And the thing is, when you're working these jobs, like the jobs I had when I wasn't a podcaster, that information would be vital for a lot of people. The information of what am I getting set up for. You can do that a lot of times with tech jobs and with higher paying jobs. What am I in for? That you can Google it. There's Glassdoor and stuff like that. And we kind of really need one for service workers and people who do, labor and stuff like that. Because it is hard. The Strada Maggiore protest was one of many held since the Padrone di Merda group was set up in January in Bologna, a wealthy city known for its food and its university. The group targeted 16 businesses over the following months, mostly restaurants and bars. Renowned for lasagna, tortellini, and tagliatelle al ragu, I don't know what that is. An inauthentic variant of which is known as spaghetti. Okay, whatever. Who cares? The city has a lively and growing dining scene with more than 400 restaurants, pubs, and cafes in the central zone.
Yeah,
one for every 37 residents.
So,
it's a bit.
So they have skills that are in demand. They can go somewhere else, right? They can go get a shitty job anywhere else. But this person is like the worst. I mean, the worst of the worst. I'm sure they are used to a shitty fucking situation living in a town like that. You know?
Oh yeah, and I think also it's really one of the things that they don't talk about is like a lot of the workers in a place like that do have a certain amount of skill because they're working in, I mean, all labor is skilled. I'm not saying, but I mean, like pastry chef is like a hard thing to be. It's not the easiest thing in the world
a hard
to just become.
This is the central fight of our existence. This is really, I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of how ugly someone's like theoretical politics are, whether or not we respect somebody that can coordinate food that gets ordered and brought to our table, you know, in a timely manner, like that's it. Like we do not respect that in any sort of regards. We do not pay or provide anything for people that provide that service.
Right.
You know?
And here's another interesting...
It's treated as like a punishment job to make you work harder to go somewhere else.
Yeah. And it says the combination of education as food and food has earned Bologna the nickname La Data La Grassa. And that means the learned, the fat. And means a ready supply of students as cheap and easily exploitable labor. Which, living in a city with an enormous college campus... that the way they exploit those people that go to that school it's horrible. I mean, on top of just the landlord shit, the slumlord stuff, all of that shit,
UPS,
the jobs are bad there. You're working at PJ's, a place that serves sandwiches with fucking hot dogs and french fries on them.
Yeah.
It's like you're not getting treated well and you're probably not getting paid anything. And they're just bringing money in because they have this group of students, you know?
Yeah.
The turnover on campus is crazy.
Right.
And
it's you know, honestly, it's people that they shouldn't be worried about that kind of thing. They should be focused on like their education.
Right, they shouldn't be working. I feel the same way even about like high school kids. I mean, you know my beliefs on high school kids. I just don't think any of them should be working. Yeah. I don't think there's any reason.
It really grates on my nerves. I know some people that didn't have to work and they were like, I wish I had a high school job. It seemed like a lot of fun. And I'm like, I had one and I do not want my fucking daughter to have one.
I don't either. I've said that. Well, and you know, there's multiple reasons I don't want my daughter working, but one of them is like, just focus on this. School and growing up, there is enough going on there that you can just spend your time focused on this. I signed up for 18 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just let me deal with the 18 years.
Yeah, you don't have to be on your own yet.
Yeah, and it's like also, you know, teenage girls at fast food restaurants and at retail and stuff just are treated. I mean, it's got to be a lot worse for them than it was for us.
Absolutely is.
And it was bad for us.
You're held hostage. You're uncomfortable. You don't feel like you have any power. And it's a horrible situation.
Yeah. The university students are especially vulnerable to illegal benefits-free employment because they need to pay for their studies and see it as transitional, says Francesco Di Vicenti of the Philchem's trade union. The situation has worsened over the past decade because hard-up parents are giving less and less money to their students, says one of the Padrone de Merda activists who uses the pseudonym David. The Padrone de Merda movement started after a group of young Bologna residents started to share stories of their work experience and saw they were very similar, says one of the founders, a university student who uses the pseudonym Barbara.
Which is like a Burgerville thing.
It's what we even do here. It is the thing that is almost what cured me in a way. That's one of the reasons this podcast has been good for my mental health, because it was like, oh no, I'm not like just a loser that can't work. I am part of the problem, I'm sure, but I'm not the whole problem. Like I am not the whole problem in these situations.
Yeah, I mean they need failures. They need you to fail for them to profit, right?
Yeah. The group's first action targeted a bar accused of sexual harassment of employees. Yeah. Then we opened the Facebook page and received many more reports, Barbara continues. For example, there was a pizzeria that changed employees every 3 months, and where the owner insisted on being called La Signora, the lady. So it's just like, call me the lady.
Yeah, she's just like, I'm in charge here. I'm the big boss. I mean, that's the small business tyrant thing.
I mean, and chefs,
And whether it's and
chefs are even like bigger tyrant. Like there's a lot of like we talk about the small business tyrant so much, and I think we make it the manager of the place.
well, there's a lot of different configurations, really.
Right? Yeah.
And when it comes to restaurants, what we found from all the TV that you watch, from all the stories, from all the lived everything, you know that there are people that have a passion for food and they work and they grind and they build something up, and then there are folks that are like able to get a few $100,000 and are really just were like, I would love to own an ice cream shop. I would love to do a Asian fusion. They just get it in their mind. And so they will find like a bulldog. They will find someone that's like fucking cruel to mean and be like, this is a perfect manager. You know, I can be on autopilot.
Yes.
I'll just sit in the office or I'll sit at home and watch them on cameras while this person abuses the shit out of everybody that comes through here.
Right. The things I've heard about a lot of chefs have been brutal. Like the treatment. My sister came up as a chef and like did a bunch of different jobs and worked for a bunch of different restaurants and has told me stories that shocked me. And
you have to put up a lot.
Working for people that seem nice when I meet them, and then when they're working, they're kicking
That's how they get
mop
shit
buckets
done.
over and fucking screaming at you and making you do shit by yourself and not helping and shit like that. And it's just like the way they yell it, the way I felt very early on, because it's something about dues paying for a job like that to me that bothers me, because they're not paying you to pay your dues really, and they're treating you like crap, and it's not like some guarantee that when you get out on the other end of paying your dues you're going to make a bunch of money. You probably won't,
right?
Usually, so treating people like using, like in a lot of restaurants they use the fact that people want to be chefs, that people want to move up in the restaurant and maybe someday have their own thing or develop their own menu or do something. They use that against people the same way, radio stations use it against radio talent, journalists, like journalism institutions use it against journalists. It's like, well, I can just get somebody else in here. But it pays less actually than a lot of those jobs.
Yeah.
And the Facebook page is really smart, because I think if something like this were to happen here and people would start doing this and it would start drawing attention to this thing, I think you could do the same thing here. This is a model that would work here.
I mean, I think Burgerville is similar. I think what you see is that when enough people break through the narrative of like, this is just how work is, when you see like a few dozen people stand there and say, we're not going to take this anymore, the paradigm shifts. It changes the atmosphere of everything. The Burgerville people had to cave. They were just like, fuck, we don't know what to do. Fine, we will give you this. A lot of fighting, not saying it was easy.
Oh yeah, it took a long time.
They agreed to it, and just to keep selling hamburgers and shit.
Yeah.
So, and I do feel like it doesn't come down to how can you make people comfortable in doing this? How can you make sure that someone isn't risking their whole fucking life, or they're going without groceries to make a statement like this,
I think the masks are very cool. I don't know if you can do that in the United States at this point, though.
Yeah,
you're really not allowed
that would be
outside
troublesome.
in a fucking
Yeah,
mask these days. I think it's about people. I think it's about finding people who don't have anything to lose, that are willing to put themselves on the line to do something like this. If it was in this country, I think because you can't mask up, you'll get arrested, you'll get beat up by the police whatever. But if it was people like me and you and people with higher paying jobs that just have little extra bit of time, that can read the complaints and then relay those complaints out on the streets, that could work. That is something that I think is not an impossible task.
But yeah, and everything is there. Like, you can make your own coverage. If 12 people get together and stand in front of a place and say, don't go here, we're striking.
Yeah.
I mean,
that works.
No one can really stop you. I mean, if you don't have a contract or not, like, you do it until there's a ruckus, and then you turn that into something.
Yeah,
right?
It works. And picketing works.
There's been wildcats that have been successful in recent years. We need to we need to get like some sort of crowdfunding together just to provoke people to start walking off the fucking job.
Yeah, I think it's about a few successes, and there's been a
Yeah.
bunch of strikes lately. Actually, it
it
is
has-
happening right now.
yeah,
The United
someone-
Auto Workers are striking
Someone
right
in
now.
the chat said they wanted us to mention that. The
Yeah.
GM workers that are
Let me get
about
all
to
that up
strike.
here because there's a bunch of it. Actually.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Right now we're gonna be potentially moving over to the Means TV channel. They're gonna try to have like more content going 24/7, like a Fox News thing, and we want to get our shit pushed over there. So that's coming in the near future. A team up. I did see some dissenting comments on Reddit, which I appreciate because y'all keep it real. Everybody else is always so rosy about things. Means TV is not like in control of anything. They're not like this behemoth. It's Nick, it's Naomi. I'm working with them for a lot of their business decisions, and we're just trying to get together a big, gigantic library of content so that we can launch and people will be satisfied, and then from there move into something that will be more, like, I don't know. We're trying to do new shit here. Trying to do a completely work our own co-op thing with everyone that's involved, all the entertainers and everything, have our own platform and move away from Bezos and those and YouTube and all that shit eventually. I mean, but right now, this is how we're getting it out.
Yeah, let's look into this in USA Today. The GM kind of story. Within 36 hours of the United Automobile Workers strike against General Motors, the Detroit automaker announced a decision to shift worker health care payments to the union immediately, a strategy that risks dragging out the strike, labor negotiators say. They're pouring gasoline on the fire, said Harry Katz, the Jack Shankman professor of collective bargaining at the School of Industrial and Labor Relations at Cornell University. This induces the workers to get more angry. GM thinks this will scare them or get them to rethink the cost of their benefits. I think it's going to backfire. It's quick, rash, and insensitive. In response to criticism, GM spokesman Pat Morrissey referred to the company's statement released Tuesday. We understand strikes are difficult and disruptive to families. While on strike, some benefits shift to being funded by the union strike fund, and in this case, hourly employees are eligible for union-paid COBRA so that their health care benefits can continue.
Oh, wait, the union plays COBRA? COBRA's the worst fucking deal on the planet.
Nobody gets COBRA. Nobody pays for COBRA.
COBRA
Nobody.
is like... COBRA just makes you fucking mad. COBRA is a kick in the gut when you're on the fucking ground.
Yeah.
If you don't know, COBRA is that it's a guarantee that you can maintain your health insurance. You get the same premium that you were paying before, but you have to pay like a 2.9% processing fee. That's the COBRA sting. That's the venom. Is like a 2% fucking on top of it. So like, for my wife that was paying $700 a month for health care, they were like, well, we could get you the same health care for $710 a month now that you don't have a job.
Right. I'm trying to get like the full story of the auto workers strike because I think it is important that we talk about it, and it's been very big. GM is trying to cut their health care, is what I believe.
Yeah, and which is, at this point, it's an expectation of benefits. As far as what is regular status quo. We're, like the reason we have jobs is because they give us fucking health care. That's why you want to work for a company, is because you can get fucking health care paid for.
Right. Here it is. Here's the whole story. The United Auto Workers Union went out on strike against General Motors Sunday night, the first work stoppage in the U.S. auto industry in 12 years. The union's nearly 50,000 hourly, full-time, and temporary workers walked out at 31 GM factories and 21 other facilities spread across 9 states, mostly in the center of the country. It's the largest strike by any union against any business since the last strike in GM. Is there? Who knows, man? These fucking ads.
Brian's doing an ad for
I know.
Jackson Lewis,
No,
the Strike Busters.
It's fucking it's CNN auto plays ads, and I can't turn it off because I'm stupid.
The
I got
media is
it.
all bought and paid for by
I got
General
it. It's
Mills, man.
It's off. Sorry about that, folks. The strike started at 11:59. Okay, I'm sorry. That so distracted me.
Just start it over.
The union's nearly 50,000 hourly, full-time, and temporary workers walked out at 31 GM factories and 21 other facilities spread across 9 states, mostly in the center of the country. It's the largest strike by any union against any business since the last strike at GM in 2007. The strike started at 11:59 p.m. Sunday night. The two sides did not formally meet Sunday after the union declared its intention to strike at a morning press conference. Although union spokesman Brian Rothenberg said that the dialogue between the two sides was ongoing, a new meeting of the two sides is set for 10 a.m. Monday. The union said that GM was putting profits ahead of employees, who helped to turn the company around when it went through bankruptcy and a federal bailout a decade ago. I believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody had to bail out GM. We all had to chip in to bail out GM. It wasn't anything their genius board did or anything like that.
Right.
You know,
But I don't think GM took a bad deal though. Didn't they go bankruptcy? Ford paid their people through. I don't remember what GM their deal was.
who knows? I'm just saying.
Someone correct me.
I'm just saying that GM.
I'll give you a gift if you correct me. If you tell me the deal. Sorry,
The union is seeking higher hourly wages, lump sum payments, and a better profit sharing program. It also wants GM to agree to limit the use of temporary workers and give them a clearer path to permanent employment.
Love it.
In addition, the UAW says the two sides are far apart on other issues, including healthcare benefits and job security. That's an important thing that this union is really grabbing, that is good about this strike, is because a lot of times some of the antagonism toward union comes from temporary workers, people who come in and work as a temp in some of these factories, and then there's no real clear path to get hired on. It's just kind of like, well, you can apply in 90 days, I guess, if you want to. And then, you know, it causes the temp workers to have problems with the union workers in the way of like, oh, you know, they don't have to do this, they don't have to do that. And it really does cause like a schism between people that have the same interests pretty much.
Right.
You know, and there really is like in a lot of these factories. I worked at Bed Bath and Beyond warehouse at one, or no, Bath and Body Works warehouse, and I did a few other jobs where I was a temp to hire, and that path is so muddy. And so many people I know that have done temp work or contract work, they just use them for cheap labor for 3 months and then kicked them out the fucking door, because that's what they do.
Yeah, I was going to say the workforce at that point should be like, you know, we're relying on X amount of people. Like they should just be on. We should have them as regular employees so that we can continue to maintain production numbers. Like
right,
like bring it like temps do make sense in a voluntarist world that I dream up in my mind, but it's like, but like for holiday seasons, for, you know, when there's certain times in the month when you need them. But if you constantly have temps, if you constantly are hiring, that's what we always had 100 temps hired at the fucking warehouse. It didn't matter when it happened.
I mean,
like they were just always there, and it was like you're using them to bag clothes because you don't want to pay. I make $12.50 an hour. You pay $11 to their owner that then pays them $9, and they bag clothes.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I did the Bath and Body Works. I was a temp there, and I was making $7.50 an hour. I don't know what the other people that were working were making, but I think it was like significantly more than $7.50 an hour. And they were making us work the mandatory overtime, and, you know, kind of letting the employees off because they didn't want to pay the employees for their time and a half. They would rather pay us for our time and a half. And I've seen that happen at countless jobs. The cable company is a really good example of using temp workers to squash any union stuff, because at the cable company it was like, okay, we could theoretically go on strike, like if we wanted to. The service workers and the installers and maintenance could go on strike, but they have a ready amount of temps in that they could just bring them in and just do the work and just get the work done. And it's, the job's the same at the cable company. At least it's like every job is kind of the same, and the quality is the quality, and that's just what you get. So, and it's not a hard thing to learn. So I think the temp stuff. I hate temp work and I hate contract work and I hate independent contractor work. I just think those two things are two of the worst things that's happening.
I mean,
right now.
I did mystery shopping, and it was horrendous stringing it all together. And I was conscious of like how much gas I'm burning up and how much time I'm taking to drive around and do these things. And it's just work has become more and more precarious. And something like making a fucking vehicle should be a goddamn reliable thing.
I know.
I don't want anybody involved that just got thrown in here and is temporary. You know, I want a trained fucking employee making the goddamn car.
That's really. I'll say this. That's really the main thing with this. Is like if you're building a car, they should pay you well to build the car. That's the promise of these jobs almost. Like that's like the Anheuser, for example, in Columbus, the Anheuser-Busch factory. The promise is that if you can somehow work your way into that job, you're going to get paid a bunch and you're going to be taken care of because there's a union. And that's the same thing with the Honda plant in Marysville, Ohio. That was one of those jobs that everybody talked about when I was growing up. Oh, I'm going to go up to Marysville and I'll just temp and get a job, you know? But I knew so many people that drove to Marysville every day, about 45 minutes out of town. I knew so many people that drove there every day for 3 to 6 months, and then they would be like, we'll extend your temp another 3 months, but we can't hire you yet. We'll extend your temp work another 3 months, but we can't hire you yet. And I knew people that would get through like a year and a half being a temp and just be like, I don't think I'm going to get the fucking job. Fuck it. You know, this is a waste of my time and money.
Yeah, it's awful. It's because, you know, greed took over and people decided that they could outsource a lot of the production of stuff that we all want. So we're having it all made somewhere else and then sent over here to save a few fucking dollars when there are people that are ready to sign up for things, and you should just pay them to take care of it, and we should pay the price to make sure that someone that goes to work and puts together the fucking glass on my new fucking Dodge Charger is not stressing about their fucking security at work. They're not like fighting for like the number one position amongst a bunch of crabs in a bucket as a temp. You know?
I also do agree with you on the thing about like they do send the jobs to other countries, obviously, but it seems like even when they keep them here now, they make it so there's a smaller amount of employees than there are temps and contractors.
We did watch the first half of the Obama warehouse fucking documentary, and there was an auto glass manufacturer that was paying $30 an hour. It closed down, and then someone came back and they were making like $13 an hour.
Yeah.
And like it's absurd. It's just not acceptable. And like the more that this stuff spreads around, I hope we can have this conversation. I haven't seen anybody throwing a fit. I just think they're going to ignore it, you know?
The auto worker thing is like...
People that read Atlas Shrugged, they're probably having a meltdown. They're a little worried right now.
Well, let's take a look a little further into how this is affecting people. General Motors said it made a substantial offer, including higher pay and profit sharing, along with investments to bring new group. You know, General Motors, a really good thing that we could do is just take the whole place away from you. We all just share the profits.
Right.
That's a move that I like. It said it offered to commit to invest $7 billion in coming years to preserve 5,400 jobs. Okay, that's not... Like, that's a commitment to pay your employees for 7 years. That's like not a thing that like your offer was to just pay your employees for 7 more years.
Yeah.
You know, it also promised a solution for 2 of the 4 plants currently slated for closure, one in Detroit and another in Lordstown, Ohio. The company did not say what the solution would be. They're going to offer them the chance to move to keep their job, or they're going to offer them to be temps. That's what they're going to do. The solution is always either, oh, hey, yeah, you can move for this $20 an hour job if you want to move like somewhere else in the country and you know, I don't know what the amount of money is that you move for, but it ain't a $20 an hour job. You know, you're making $100,000 a year before you're starting to think about moving for your job.
Yeah.
Like, what is the number, really, to think about moving for your job? Like, the only way I'm thinking about moving for my job is for $500,000. I might move across the country to do something, you know?
Well, when we moved from Columbus to Dallas and from Dallas to DC, every time we moved, Erica's employer paid for it.
Yeah, but it's just, it's like, what is it worth to, how many jobs are it, like, as a general sort of laborer sort of thing? Like, is that the type of thing that you move to do? You know, like, to work in a factory? You move to work in a factory? You just cut yourself off from your support system and your family and everything you know, and you just go and you're like, okay, fine, now I live in Lordstown, Ohio, I guess. You know, I don't think that's a reasonable thing to ask people to do.
You know what though? My dad was he laid fire brick, and he was like a journeyman when I was a kid, and he traveled around the country building like these gigantic kilns, like the size of our football fields and shit, for industrial use. And like the work, you know, he had to eventually stay home as we got older, and the work started drying up, and he was looking at stuff like there was no more raises. All of a sudden, you know, like the front office was just saying it's real tight right now. And he looked at, you know, switching jobs, and it was like a really fucking shocking thing to do, you know? It was like, I feel like some folks do get in a way, like really just want to do one thing. And I mean, I understand it, you know?
Yeah.
And you'd like, you know, you might move. If I wasn't a homeowner and I was renting a fucking house, and there was my $20 an hour job was moving, and I didn't have to learn everything all over again or start at 12 somewhere else, fuck, I'd move for $20 for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess I'm not the type of I think a lot of people who work in these factories are probably people with families.
Yeah.
And people,
you need something reliable. You want reliability.
Right. And if you're in, like, again, Lordstown, Ohio, or Hamtramck in
Hamtramck
in Detroit, like, yeah, we were just there. I don't know why I can't say the word.
It's fun to say wrong. I mean, it's just an absurd spelling.
Yeah, the UAW has vowed that keeping the plants open will be a key bargaining demand. Late Saturday, it said while there had been progress in the talks, there were still significant differences between the parties on wages, health care benefits, temporary employees, job security, and profit sharing. Those are, I'm reading that list of things. Let's just check off that list of things, how important they are.
Let's go one more time.
Wages.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
The most important thing.
Yeah.
What's the second most important thing? Healthcare benefits.
Also.
Which, by the way, Medicare for all would mean that GM doesn't have to pay for that. Well, technically don't have to pay for that anymore, so maybe
we'd still be scraping
the capitalists should stop fighting it so much. Temporary employees, which I think is, again, temporary employees, they're getting fucked. And the other workers are getting fucked by virtue of them being there.
Yeah.
You know, like, and job security and profit sharing. I think profit sharing, I mean, honestly, in my world, profit sharing would be a requirement at every job.
Yeah, I think so too.
It would just be split evenly, I think.
No, I mean, I think, like, I was listening to Beep Beep Lettuce, and they mentioned that a CEO, what they do at their job is they do a risk reward math statement on the back of a napkin. Like, that's what they do.
Yeah, I believe that.
And I feel that is what I do too. Like, when everybody's like, how's this tour gonna go, I sit down with a spreadsheet and I just put the numbers down and say, if we sell this amount of tickets, I do all the numbers and say, like, this is what we need to hit. I do not deserve more money than everybody else that does all the other things that makes the money that we're gonna fucking get.
It's funny because there's a certain amount of, like, any job you do, once you start owning the business, you start treating like what you do as magic. In a way.
Oh yeah, like, I'm a genius.
Yeah, because I'll be like, oh, I've got to work all week, and it's like, what was work? Oh, it was listening to Tom Likas for 7 days, and then like saving audio clips so that I can play them, and me and my friends can talk shit about them. That is a time-consuming bit of work,
right?
But you can be doing other things while you do that, but I can wrap, just by saying I have to work, I wrap it in a bunch of magic.
Right.
And that's what CEOs do. They just wrap it all in magic. They're like, no, I'm working fucking 80 hours a week. And it's like, you're not. You fucking are not working 80 hours a week. Every second that you think isn't work. That's not the job. Okay.
That's true. Yeah, no, they consider like everything that inspires them. They're like, you know what? If I wasn't out here on this roof in an infinity pool smoking a cigar, I wouldn't know about the good life and be able to sell our brand so eloquently.
Yeah, they think every thought. They like mentally clock in for every thought that they have, and then clock out when they're done thinking. You know. GM said this is a scuzzy thing that GM, of course, we all know that these companies do this every time there's a strike. GM says its average hourly employee earns about $90,000 a year, not including benefits. But the number of hourly workers at GM has declined sharply in recent decades due to a combination of automation, lost market share, and outsourcing. But GM still builds the overwhelming majority of cars it sells in the U.S. market in North America, and it has far more factories in the United States than it does in Mexico or Canada.
What changed? Are they saying they lost money?
Right, there's
like if you like I sign like when like you know what you sign if you're signing up to pay these people that much, like to get your shit done, like you just have to pay for it. You just make more money. That's what you have to do.
I know. That is the thing too. You said that when we got back from the Hellfire tour. You were like, you know what? I stopped freaking out about money because it's just basically like when we run out of money, we just gotta make more money.
Yeah,
like that's how I'm like that's how I think now. It's like, well, I mean, if the money's bad, we just have to figure out how to make more money.
Yeah,
and then we'll
come
have
back,
that.
Come back, kids.
By the way. That is what a CEO does. That's like
it
real
is.
CEO work is thinking that.
Yeah.
You know?
How can we turn this around? How can I make these things? How can I connect these dots?
A real business owner, really does just think, no, I know what I got to do. I got to like make more money. That's really the important thing. That now there are ideas and stuff that come in there. I think the ideas are valuable. I think I'm not saying that our content isn't valuable or that it doesn't take work to come up with what we're going to do. I'm saying that it is not the same as a person working on the line at an automobile factory.
Yeah, I just believe that there is a lot of money. Like 90 grand is probably, you know, for a couple dozen employees, it's probably less than a third of what some people in the board make. You know?
Oh yeah.
Like those folks could probably make 90 grand as well, and it would solve all of these problems. And it's like, how can you not fucking get by on 90 grand?
Yeah, I know. I don't understand how.
Make it work.
Yeah,
make it fucking work. You're going to go to the same pool as me. You're going to go to the same public pool as me. You're going to go to the rec center. You're not going to go to fucking private schools no more. Everybody can go to those. Get fucking used to it.
I'll be straight up. I could live very nicely on 90
Everybody
grand a year.
could.
I know. I mean, like with 90
for
grand
one
a
person
year
making
for
that.
me,
Yeah.
that we're just looking at it like a CEO. If we were like, hey, CEO, you make $90,000 a year now, they would have to downgrade their life a little bit. But if you said Brian Quinby, if you said Brian Quinby, you're making $90,000 a year now, I would actually be able to like upgrade.
Yeah,
I would not be able to spend that amount of money if
that's
I
a lot. You'd be like, I feel like a piece of shit because I did actually start a savings account. You know, I feel really bad about it. I'm investing in the future. Stocks, you know, kind of make sense now.
Yeah.
Now they got a lot of extra money.
Yeah, no, I'm not getting into stock
I
market.
know,
I'd
I
rather
know,
just play roulette, to tell you the
I know.
truth.
It doesn't
It's
make
the
any
same
sense.
game, you know? It was the need to save money for those efforts that GM halted operations at 3 U.S. plants, including the assembly line in Lordstown, and announced plans to shut the Hamtramck plant in Detroit factory last year. But negotiations came as the union is hit by a scandal involving misappropriation. I'm not going to read that part. That's not what we care about. Last week, the Detroit News reported that the union's president, Gary Jones, was the unnamed union official. We're not going to read about the indictments. You know, whatever happens with the union happens inside the union, and that's all I'm going to say. So I guess today, again, the GM decided that they were going to cut off their health care and make the union responsible for the health care 3 days into the strike, which I believe that sounds like that's like an evil tactic. But the thing that I like is that like union people who are standing on a line, union guys, gals, and non-binary pals who stand out on a picket line, they understand what the business is doing. Probably better than a lot of us do.
For sure.
And that is like a good plus. I mean, it is nice to see people striking and that they're not company men and I think I saw another strike too. I want to give big up, but cool for the UAW.
Well,
I mean, keep it rolling.
I recorded a bonus show with Nick from Means TV, the first episode of Small Business Tyrants, and he talked about being a kid and getting involved with GM ad campaigns, and how they would have like a budget of like $500,000, and they would do all these lavish things and shoot that shit, and he saw it just get whittled down and down to the point where he was like dealing with a budget of like $90,000, $30,000, and just trying to squeeze everything out of people.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think
and like those talents of like video editing, of like graphic design, have been like overtrained. We have a lot of people that can do that stuff and are competing and are getting paid less. They're trying to do the same thing with coding by getting everybody doing that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that means that you're making less as a coder. And it's like
$90K. I'm down with that. That's a fucking great. I love that number.
What, $90,000 a year is like a good.
Well, it's because it's like maybe you like flip baseball's memorabilia on the side to get your $100K. If you want to get $100K, you're almost there. There's a little bit of effort, but 90 with healthcare, everything, man, fucking settled. Like, I love it.
Yeah. So I'm looking at a good buddy of mine, Kenzo Shibata. Love that boy.
One of the legendary, one of the best wrestlers of all time.
This is Kenzo from Chicago.
Oh yeah, he's one of my favorite wrestlers.
He's a heavy union guy. He's a union guy.
Sorry.
He's very, very strong.
I was thinking of the wrestler.
And Kaiser Permanente too actually went on strike. Let's look into that because I think we should cover all the strikes. We should. We do bad sometimes when it comes to that stuff because we're lazy when it really comes down to
I'm not in charge of it.
That's true too.
I'm just the reaction guy.
All right, let's look at OPB News. I just don't read anything. I'm sorry. Okay, here it goes. A union coalition representing 80,000 Kaiser Permanente workers announced Monday they will be walking picket lines in 4 weeks. Union leaders said the October 14th walkout will be the biggest strike in the country since a Teamsters strike against UPS in 1997.
Damn.
Hours later, top Kaiser executives decreed what they called negative corporate campaigning and an aggressive approach. Nothing's more aggressive than underpaying people.
Yeah. To me. Yeah. Cutting them out of benefits, telling them that you're not getting the same thing you had last year. We're not doing cash bonuses anymore. Instead, it's a lottery for a honey baked ham.
Yeah, the Coalition of Kaiser Permanente Unions says it's planning a nationwide strike to last 7 days over alleged unfair labor practices at the medical nonprofit. The union said the NLRB charged Kaiser with failing to bargain in good faith. Union officials laid out a set of 4 priorities that they're aiming for, including, let's do it, a true worker management partnership. That's one of those things I always talk about. Wouldn't it be great to just not have managers?
Yeah, for sure.
Safe staffing, which in a medical, we've heard a lot from medical workers recently, and Brett's sister's a nurse, and I've heard from a lot of people that are nurses or home health aides that safe staffing is a real issue, that they're not staffing enough people to handle the amount of issues that they have.
Yeah.
And they're making people work these ridiculously long shifts to the point where it becomes even you're talking about unsafe to do like a medical procedure. They're doing work so long that it's unsafe to fucking drive home. It becomes dangerous to drive back to your house after you get off work. A plan to build the workforce as well as raise wages and benefits. The union statement went on to criticize Kaiser practices such as raising rates for patients, not treating enough patients with low income, and allowing high executive salaries, included a reported $16 million annual salary for the nonprofit CEO, Bernard J. Tyson. In my world, nobody makes $16 million, except for me, and then everybody else, nobody makes $16 million. So I need it. extra
Really?
a little bit. Yeah, I need
For what?
just like jet skis and shit like that.
Okay.
You know, it's like
But there's gonna be a library of jet skis, so you don't have to like keep it at your house all the time.
some needs. I just have needs.
Do you maybe
know?
you can get maybe you can get like a VIP card where you go move to the front of the list at the library.
Okay. I'll take the VIP card. You guys can all vote on that, but it's fine. You know, the planned walkout would affect people in jobs ranging.
I'm gonna throw my gold card away. I'll wait in line with everybody else patiently.
Oh, I'll take the gold card, like the celeb card that I can just get what I want. I hate it when I can't get what I want. It's the worst feeling in the world to me. I had to go do something today. I wanted to go get my cherry drinks.
Okay.
I wanted to go, and they didn't have any.
Oh my goodness.
And I fucking melted down. I was just like, I can't live like this. This is killing me.
Yeah.
Like, so I just need to be able to have everything I want when I want it.
Okay.
It's important for me. I think other people can like live without it. People are much more mature than I am and able to handle those
What
things.
if there-
but I'm a baby.
If
and
you
I
had
feel
an app,
baby fits.
if there was an app you couldn't just sign up for a weekend, would you be cool with that? Like to just go pick something up when you show up?
I don't know, man. I don't know if I like this.
You know what? The Columbus Library, this is amazing. They do, you can get free passes to the Wexner Center of Arts.
Yeah. Here's a good one. The planned walkout would affect people in jobs ranging from optometrists and x-ray technologists to vocational nurses and housekeepers. In a statement, the Union Coalition said picket lines will be set up at Kaiser Permanente hospitals, medical office buildings, and other facilities from the Northwest to the East Coast. I want to say something because I don't think there's any other way to do this. Okay, that's when you're dealing with a company where the CEO is making $16 million a year, and then there's people saying that they're underpaid. There is not another way to fix this problem other than striking. Striking is the only thing that you can do because it's the only thing they respond to. So what is Monday evening, Kaiser Permanente released a statement from Tyson blasting the strike announcement as an overt effort to gain leverage in bargaining. Yeah. No shit. We never have leverage.
Right.
Like, that's the thing. Like, they think it's fair that we have any leverage at all.
Like, no, you're not allowed to stop working. That's unfair. You have to always work. It's like, no, we're not going to.
Whenever the workers get any sort of leverage, they're like, oh, this is bullshit. Okay, I'm supposed to be the one that tells you all the stuff. Boss, you know how that works out, you know? You know, I hope that they get this taken care of. Obviously, you don't want them to strike. And, but if they do, you know, hey, go on strike. Striking gets the goods. That's what I'm going to say.
I mean, I think it is catching on. I would love to see a lot more of it, but it is inspiring. And I know people are down with it. I think that more folks understand it, and we need to make it as normalized as possible and get it happening fucking everywhere.
Right, and if you are in the UAW or if you're in one of the Kaiser unions, feel free to call us on Sunday. Feel free to DM me. We'll get you through on the lines. I'd love to talk to you about the actual situation and what it looks like for the workers there. Yeah. Let's take a look at another story about workers. Tesla factories are not as safe for employees as Tesla would have you believe, according to a report from RevealNews.org, a nonprofit news operation based out of the Bay Area. The company reportedly misreported injuries at its facilities in Fremont, California to make things seem better than they actually are. Company officials labeled toxic exposures, muscle strains, and repetitive stress injuries as personal medical issues or minor accidents requiring only first aid, lowering its official injury count.
This is that God shit. Like when you subscribe to the idea that there are these superhuman people that are above us, CEOs or tech geniuses. These people are just as fucking stupid as us. They forget their keys sometimes. They are not alpha level. They aren't prepared for everything. And this does feel like a thing where we're going to save people. We're saving humanity. We're making the car of the future. It's electric. It's so safe. You know, you don't even have to, the computer takes over and it's safer than, you know, there's no human error. And so the people that make it have to die a little bit faster than the rest of us.
This is from New York Mag. I wanted to say it's an article by Madison Malone Kirchner. Among the more baffling details in the report, this is what I wanted to get to, Brett. Among the more baffling details in the report, there are several sections about how Elon Musk's personal tastes appear to have affected the factory's safety for the worse. His preferences were well known and led to cutting back on those standard safety signals. Musk apparently really hates the color yellow, don't we all?
What?
So instead of using the aforementioned hue, lane lines in the factory floor are painted in shades of gray.
Fuck. No, you can't do that.
Yeah, in a factory, dude.
You can't do that.
I know. I've worked in enough warehouses and shit. Yes, I've worked in a factory too.
I'm going to be uncool, and I'm not going to say, sometimes there has to be rules, and like when there is giant power equipment, you need bright yellow lines to say where the fuck you shouldn't be.
Not gray. Gray is the
Like
worst.
all the
color.
warehouses I worked in, they had yellow. Like that kept you in line. That's how you didn't move here. You didn't go there. You're not going to fucking run somebody over. A gray line is fucking absurd.
It is absurd. And yellow is a good color for that because we're already conditioned to never cross a yellow line.
Yes.
We're very much like when I'm driving a car, I feel like there's almost a wall on the yellow line. I agree with Elon Musk about one thing. Yellow is a bad color, but it's also a color that assaults your eyes in such a way that it makes you more safe.
Yeah, Brian likes more tonality.
Yeah. So instead of using the aforementioned okay. He is also not into having too many signs or the beeping sound forklifts make in reverse.
God damn it, dude.
Yeah.
There's fucking humans here, and this stuff is heavy, and there's no some of the safety stuff is ridiculous, but then again, if a box of jeans that weighs 100 pounds falls on your fucking head, it could break your goddamn neck.
Right, and I think the thing about it also is...
I saw somebody fucking drive their cherry picker into the wrong place and have a high tensile wire smack him in the back of the fucking head.
Yeah, I've seen some fucking nasty stuff, and it's like... That's
outrageous. Fuck that guy, man.
Even if some of the safety measures seem ridiculous to you, it's like... I would rather them be more ridiculous than they need to be than less ridiculous than they need to be. I mean, the idea that he doesn't like the sound of forklifts backing up that is almost as absurd as the fucking not having yellow lines. Like that is fucking dangerous. I can't. Those things are already quiet. And when you're walking around sometimes, if you don't have your head on it, you could get hit by one.
It's a little overboard, but I do not want to get fucking hit by one.
Yes. Yeah, it's obnoxious. It sounds terrible.
Sure, I can understand.
But fuck,
aesthetically. Yes, aesthetically. Yeah, I don't want to hear a fucking siren in my ear, but if there is a 2-ton vehicle coming towards me, I'd want to know.
Yeah, I also, just reiterating, he also doesn't like having too many signs, which is... Another thing, it's like, you got to put the signs up. I know that sometimes the signs seem ridiculous.
Yeah.
Again, I know that sometimes the signs seem ridiculous, but sign makers need the work anyway. You might as well just have the signs. The signs are fine.
Yeah.
People need signs. It's fine. If you don't like signs, put TVs on the wall, and then you can make all the different designs you want and shit.
He's just completely not... he has no fucking experience doing that job or making those decisions and shouldn't be involved with that at all.
Oh, I agree. It's just a matter of time before somebody gets killed, a former safety lead said of the conditions in the factory. One employee attempted to call attention to these problems before eventually resigning. A few months into her job, White became so alarmed that she wrote to a human resources manager that risk of injury is too high. People are getting hurt every day, and near-hit incidents where people were almost getting crushed or hit by cars is unacceptable. In her March 2017 resignation letter, White recounted the time she told her boss, Seth Woody, that the plant layout was extremely dangerous to pedestrians. Woody, head of the safety team, told her that Elon didn't want signs, anything yellow, or to wear safety shoes in the plant, and acknowledged it was a mess, she wrote. That's the genius Elon Musk, by the way. I have made fun of Elon Musk on Twitter and been screamed at by none of the people in our circle or
people
anything.
Would wash his fucking feet.
I know. I know. None of the people in our circle, but like Rick and Morty people fucking love him so much.
He's a messiah.
Yeah. Like he just gets to sit and have people tell him how fucking smart he is, and he's like not doing anything. No. He's not inventing things. He's having other people invent things. It's not him that's doing, and who
he
cares?
got started scraping money off of digital transactions, which is like easy to do. It's like, oh yeah, you want to pay each other? Sure, I'll take that money and hand it to the other guy. I'm just going to take a little bit myself here, but sure.
Tesla, in a post on the company blog, denies all the allegations in the report. Seems like that's hard to deny, and like, how do you deny that you don't have that? Like, they run in and paint everything yellow and hang signs up?
Well, now we know how to defeat the motherfucker, right? He revealed his weakness. All we have to get is one of those shipping containers and paint it yellow on every fucking surface and then throw him inside of it.
Right.
Until he goes insane.
Hopefully he gets run over by a fucking forklift, really, when he's walking around the factory. Like,
yes.
That's the way to get rid of him.
We need to start a Twitter campaign that's like, Elon, be in your factory. You need to be more hands-on. You need to be walking around that very unsafe environment.
Where are we at here? I think we can do one more thing here, and I think we got. I got this story I saw earlier this week. Okay, get out of my face, man! I don't want that. I don't want to subscribe to the New York Times. It's the last thing I could ever want to do. Okay, the New York Times website is being a real huge pain in the beans. I don't read enough of it to like actually care about if I use my articles. One Border Patrol agent in Tucson said he had been...
Sorry, go ahead. I got some advice for you, but go ahead.
Oh,
I lost it.
One Border Patrol agent in Tucson said he had been called a sellout and a kid killer. In El Paso, an agent said he and his colleagues in uniform had avoided eating lunch together except at certain BP-friendly restaurants because there's always the possibility of them spitting in your food. An agent in Arizona quit last year out of frustration. Caging people for a nonviolent activity, he said, started to eat away at me. For decades, the Border Patrol was a largely invisible security force. Along the southwestern border, its work was dusty and lonely. Between adrenaline-fueled chases, the shells of sunflower seeds piled up outside the windows of their idling pickup trucks. Agents called their slow-motion specialty laying in, hiding in the desert and brush for hours to wait and watch and wait. 2 years ago, when President Trump entered the White House with a pledge to close the door on illegal immigration, all that changed. The nearly 20,000 agents of the Border Patrol became the leading edge of one of the most aggressive immigration crackdowns in the history of the United States. So they're complaining.
They feel bad.
I don't think they feel bad for what they're doing. I think they feel bad because people are mean.
Did the person say, it said the one person quit?
Yeah, one person did quit. They did say one person quit.
I mean, that's
what you should do.
That is the right thing to do. I mean, I have to say, just because I want to put a little nuance to this thing, is that everything in this world is grooming you to be patriotic and to sign up for service and do for you something for your country and get a position, protecting and serving whatever that bullshit is, right? There's a reason that people go into these fucking things. But once you're in there and you witness what's going on right now, you just fucking walk. You just walk. You just find something else. You figure out a recipe that you can sell at the farmer's market and turn into a food truck and in a restaurant. Like, you fucking you go learn a different skill. Like, you just quit. That's all it is.
Right. I actually had this conversation with my wife about, like, if I knew a Border Patrol agent, I think I would not. He's a piece of shit to me. Like, right. I don't want anything to do with you. You're bad. And it's like, but I would almost love to hear, like, why are you, like, if you don't believe in the mission, why are you doing this? Because I think there's a lot of people who don't believe. So there are a lot of, I think they believe. I was trying to say this. There's a lot of people who don't believe that their job is a net positive for the world, but that it's not a super negative. So, like, when I say that, hooking up cable for people probably led to the brain poisoning of a bunch of people that watched Fox News.
Sure.
But it wasn't this, it's not like the same thing. And I think Border Patrol or like ICE agents, I think they look at it the same way I looked. I think a lot of them look at it the same way I looked at the cable company, where it was like, okay, I'm probably not doing like a positive for the world, but it's not like really hurting anything, and I have to make a living anyway. So, or maybe somebody that works at Chick-fil-A that believes in gay rights. It's like they probably look at it like, fucking, I wish I didn't, but it's just what I do, and that's how I make my money. But this is totally different.
But they believe also that like America is an overall good, and that they're just going to go along with it, and not complain, and just believe that it will right itself. It'll right itself on its path, even though it's led to fucking a reality TV star becoming the president.
Yeah. And it is. I guess like some of the things they've done, like destroying water jugs, is one of the things these guys do. They go out and find water jugs that people have left for people that are crossing the border. That's like actively fucking evil.
Seeing people behind chain link fence is like, that's how they do dogs in like shelters and shit.
I know. It's absolutely, and they're saying morale has been poor in the past and it's abysmal now. I know a lot of guys just want to leave. You got to do that. That is what you have to do. You don't give them shit because they don't deserve a something from us. They don't deserve fucking to get paid off because that is an immoral job, and you leave that job is what you do.
Yeah, you turn your life around.
Yeah, you I guess do something else. I mean,
life is long. I mean, you can learn, like you can change and make mistakes. I mean, I've made mistakes in my life, and I think that at this point you just have to not do it anymore.
Right. The intense criticism that is being directed at the Border Patrol is necessary and important because I do think there's a culture of cruelty or callousness, said Francisco Cantu, a former agent who was the author of The Line Becomes a River, a memoir about his time in the agency. I mean, we did hear about those. Did you hear about the Facebook group that somebody found their way in? It was I'm surprised I didn't find my way in it somehow, but I didn't. But it was a private Facebook group for Border Patrol agents. And it was fucking cruel. They were just, and it's the same thing as cops.
Yeah.
They just say very cruel things because they're very cruel people.
Yeah, that's how they're letting off steam.
Yeah. And it's cruelty. You have to be cruel to do that job.
That's how you make it comfortable. That's how you make it fucking normal, right? You say it out loud with your buddies, and everybody sneers and laughs and chuckles, and that makes it so that you can do it every single day.
Yes, yeah.
That's the atmosphere. I mean, like all of those police that protect each other, and even the ones that are doing the worst fucking crimes, even ones that know better, still are like, well, these guys, I can cut a fucking joke that they understand.
Yeah, some agents who were members of the group said the tone of the post shifted after Mr. Trump's election, becoming raunchier and more politically tinged. A post mocked the death of a 16-year-old migrant while in custody at Border Patrol Station in Weslaco, Texas, with an image reading, "Oh well." A member used an expletive to propose throwing burritos at two Latina congresswomen. And this is a post from an agent in South Texas. What really pisses me off that the agency knew about this group for a while. Those stories are true. There were patrol agents in charge there. They knew it was wrong. And most agents interviewed said a minority of those in the Facebook group were responsible for the most offensive posts. I will probably allow that. Okay? I would probably allow that it was a minority of people that were... But the rest of them were okay with it and probably
they put up with it,
chuckling.
This is the problem. It's like they're saying out loud what the problem is, and we've also been saying out loud that that's been the problem for decades now. And they're just like, well, they're not going to do anything to fix it, and they don't see why we want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because you get too comfortable with these fuckers and protect them.
Yeah. So I just wanted to do this story because. What I want to say is keep treating them like garbage. They deserve it. And quit your fucking job. If you're Border Patrol, quit your job. It's not a moral fucking job. It's immoral to do that job.
Yeah.
And there's no excuse for it. And you are doing the bad guy's work. You are absolutely, if there's anything, it's ICE and Border Patrol. Even maybe above like just the local cops, but ICE and Border Patrol are like evil organizations. You're working for the actual fucking bad guys.
You're ruining people's lives.
Yeah. And killing people.
Yeah.
And killing people.
That too. Absolutely.
Letting people die.
It's all there. I mean,
just doing all of the cruelest stuff. Like all the stuff you read about when you read about these like evil governments or whatever, they're like actually out doing that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
That's the thing that you should. At what point does your morality kick in if you're one of these guys? You know, because you start thinking
There's
about
gals too.
Yeah,
And
well,
binary pals.
Well, when you start thinking about that old thing we all say where it's like, if I was around for slavery, I would have not been okay with it. You know, and these guys are like doing. I mean, these guys are like okay with what they're
showing
doing
up for it. Yeah,
you know.
No,
And they're cool.
there's a lot of support. There's a lot of people that support them and back them, and we have a big fight ahead of us. And
I think a lot more people don't like them.
Sure.
I do think that the majority of us are sick and tired of this shit. It's like one of those. I think this and the war on drugs are two things that I think if we really took the country's temperature, the regular people's temperature, I think they're sick of this. They're sick of the war on drugs, and they just want health care. Like that's all they want. Those are things that we have to do. I mean, of course, ending wars and shit like that is important. I hope we don't go to war with Iran. I keep seeing it, and people smarter than me think it's going to happen. So let's start organizing against that. But it's like those are the three things people care about. Those are the three things that need to be remedied right fucking now.
Yeah, and it's even I mean, it's just the stories are all awful, and nothing is just about it. I did a 5K last weekend for CRIS, which is Community Refugee and Immigration Services in Columbus, Ohio, and they get people resettled here. And I'm not into the patriotic thing, but it was just very sad because there was a woman with her children, and her husband worked as a translator for the military and was unable to come over, and was risking his life by being over there because he fucking worked with them. And there is just paperwork and bureaucrats and people that don't give a fuck that is leaving that guy fucking stranded over there. And it was really fucking sad to see, and there were several people that shared stories like that. And it was unreal. So if you have some extra money, send it to chrisohio.org. They do a lot more than resettling troops, but.
Right. Brandon Judd, president of the National Border Patrol Council, said, I love this. This is good. I just had a relative 4 days ago send me one of the nastiest emails I've ever had in my life. How bad of people we are. How taxpayer dollars should not be used to abuse individuals. It's like, that is a job. That's my job. If I had a Border Patrol person in my family or my circle of friends, I would be nasty to them.
Tell them they're like shitty.
Yeah. So, that's the show this week.
Yeah. And a little piece of advice. If you want to beat the paywall, Outline.com.
Okay.
So if you're over your reads for the month, or you want to get around something,
I'll never get there.
Go to Outline.com. You can copy and paste an article. It'll cut out all of the ads. You don't have to worry about any pop-ups. Check it out. I fucking love it. Thank you for supporting and listening to Street Fight Radio. If you're watching us on the stream, we're going to be moving it around, going to Means TV at some point. Don't know exactly what's going down, but there is a lot of bonus content coming through on Patreon, patreon.com/Street Fight Radio. You can get the Shocktober content happening, in a couple weeks. It's October. Brian and I recorded an episode about Tom Likas. Me, Brian, and Felix Biederman from Chapo Trap House did a wonderful show last night. That was like over the top and really good, and I can't wait for everybody to hear that. And that's happening in October. You can see us on the stream. Thanks for everybody that chatted. I was in there with you. We appreciate all of this. We hope to spread this mess across the U.S., and we'll be there in October. We're going to be in Texas, October 14th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. Look us up, store.streetfightradio.com for tickets, or streetfightradio.com for like the full explanation, more shows. And for those of you that want to know the song that closes out, we can't put it on SoundCloud because they scrape the data and they will take it down if they see a licensed song. So streetfightradio.com is the only place that has the name for the closing song. I appreciate all your love and support. You can find us on social media at StreetFightWCRS. You can find Brian on Twitter at MurderBrian. You can find me hanging out mostly on Instagram on the Street Fight account and on Twitter as well recently. We will see you on Sunday. We're going to do a call-in show. Get ready, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We want to hear your stories. I'm Brett. He's Brian. We're the number one anarcho comedy radio show on any station across the nation. Brian, I'm trying to wrap this thing up. What are you doing? You're holding these people up.
Well, I want to do something for our buddies. Okay.
My buddy and me.
The Trillbillies are going to be in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
On September 29th.
Okay.
At the
Hey,
something yacht club.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
I think their venue changed.
No, that's the change.
That's
It's
the change.
yacht club place.
Yeah, I think we could get there. Maybe we'll be there.
I think we're gonna go and check it out and bring our wives and hang out and check it out.
Lee Baines is a rock star. Lee Baines is a fucking rock star. One of the best people on the planet.
Same with Tom and Terrence, both just a couple of rock stars. And here's the thing, we're gonna go out there and we're gonna view this thing, and we're really one of the main reasons we're driving down there is they're saying there's gonna be some special guests at this show.
I want to see some good shit.
2 special guests, that's. Who could even do? Who would? I can't believe it. They're probably bringing some big guns,
heavy hitters
out there. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
it's a secret. We haven't been informed yet, but I think people in Cincinnati, come and see who the guest is. Maybe it'll be something that you're very into if you're listening to this show. Us and the Trillbillies have a similar aesthetic, so
can't wait.
Except
to get
for
down.
Tom has a way better voice than either one of us will ever have. But
fair.
There you go. So yeah, go to the Trillbillies Twitter, and they've been posting it a lot. And come out to the show and hang out with me on a night where I'm at a bar with my friends and I don't have to work.
Yeah. Peace and hair grease.